Greetings, knowledge seekers, the force is with you. So today we're outside of my studio because I'm going to be showing you a relatively large item that I can't fit on camera in the studio. This is my brand new case from Odyssey. It's specifically an XDJ-RX3 industrial board case. And the thing that's awesome about it is I'm able to fit more than one controller or all-in-one system in this one case. It's made for the XDJ-RX3, but with minor modifications, I made it fit the DDJ-REV7, and we're going to try out a couple other controllers that are smaller than those to see how it works with this case. So stick around, but first, a message from our sponsor.
Direct Music Service. DMS is an online database where DJs can get their music from. There's thousands of unique edits, remixes, and originals that you can choose from of your favorite tracks that you can use to rock your next dance floor. They also have an app that you can use on your mobile device where you can browse their database and then save songs so that it appears on your Dropbox when you get home. I'm going to leave you 2 discount links down below in the pinned comment if you want to subscribe. Go to directmusicservice.com today to sign up.
So the reason why I got this case is because it's a low profile case. It actually exposes the gear above the case. It's not flush. And I like that because I actually like the gear partially exposed so you can see what I'm doing when I'm playing. It also has the clearance, because it's made for this specific device, it has the clearance for the display. So that means XDJ-RX3 and below, which is the XDJ-RX2 and the RX, will actually fit in this case as well.
And the other thing I like is that it does not have the laptop glide. I don't want it there because it's going to cover the display, and I like to have the option of moving the laptop around whenever I do use it. But I'm using an XDJ-RX3. I don't want anything covering the touch display. And also, it's a lot lighter without the glide above it.
We also have a lot of room under here, underneath the display on the back of the unit, which gives me enough room to be able to put a power strip back there. I was actually able to do some pre-wiring for a lot of my items prior to taking it to a gig.
Which is great because that'll save me a lot of time if I could put all the power cables, all the chargers, my power adapter for my guitar accessories.
Another cool thing is if you remove this plate, you can actually run wires down below, and you can run all your wires without coming out of the front. And there's also room underneath in the front where you can hide some items. I actually put my phone under here when I did our local Asian festival.
Now, I'm not a mobile DJ. However, here in Iowa, a lot of the bars and clubs and many of the events are BYOG. That means bring your own gear. So I would often have to bring my all-in-one system or my controllers to my gigs. And because I'm not a mobile DJ, it doesn't make financial sense to have one dedicated case for each one of the pieces of gear that I have to bring. So what's great about this specific case from Odyssey, the industrial board XDJ-RX3 case, is the fact that with minor modifications, I can fit other devices on it.
So over here I have the XDJ-RX3, and over here I have the DDJ-REV7. Now there is a height difference between the two. If you look, the XDJ-RX3 is taller than the DDJ-REV7. What I did was I added these feet, and it's only connected by adhesives to add some height to it so that it can match on the case. This is going to be really important if you're going to use the DDJ-REV7 and put it in this specific case. I'll leave you a link to these feet. I did not drill any holes. I just specifically stuck them on. Its only purpose is to add some height so that it matches the XDJ-RX3, which they're only a few millimeters off at this point. So here we have the DDJ-REV7 in the Odyssey XDJ-RX3 industrial board case. And if you look around, it's actually perfect around all the foam. You got to remember it is lifted with the feet. And the other minor thing I had to do was I had to remove a little bit of the foam over here. I just used a blade and cut just a little rectangle off so that this knob doesn't rub, and there's enough room for me to move around my finger. And same goes for this side. It's not as bad on this side, but I removed a little bit just so that I have a little bit of leverage when I'm using this knob. The amount of foam I had to remove does not conflict with the XDJ-RX3. Now there's also another reason why we want the REV7 lifted. If you're wondering if the feet are optional, I think they're necessary. Because if you take the case top, and there's these foam blocks here that you can move around. These foam blocks, in order for it to be able to cushion the platters without the controller moving, the controller does have to be lifted a little bit. So it's really important to grab those feet. Once again, the link is down below. Once you take the case, close it, and take it down, it should not move around inside the case. It's nice and snug the way it is right now.
Now, if you don't put the feet on the REV7 and have it lifted, it will actually move around in the case. And that's really bad because that means that the platters could actually pop off and possibly damage the controller. So just be careful with that. Just make sure that it's lifted by the feet or additional foam. Now, you might be wondering, if you don't have an XDJ-RX3 or a DDJ-REV7, will your device fit?
Now here's the DDJ Flex 6 inside the case. The reason why I'm showing this controller because it's very similar in dimensions as the DDJ-1000 or the DDJ-1000 SRT. In fact, it's just an inch smaller at the width. It's about the same at the height, and it's just a little bit less than half an inch smaller at the length. So as you can see, there's a lot of clearance here, so this isn't snug just yet, and it's close to flush to the top, so you don't have that low profile sticking up a little bit as the XDJ-RX3 or the REV7. So just like on the DDJ-REV7, I think it's important to elevate this so that it's snug to the foam on the top. But to make sure that the sides are all taken care of, I took the 4 foam blocks that are Velcroed to the top and I just started filling out some of these spaces. So I had this one where the Velcro is towards the outside. See, I like the smoother side. And then this one, Velcro is facing down, and this is pretty snug. So now, left and right, I'm pretty tight. To protect this space, because it doesn't reach the foam, I'm gonna use the blocks, the foam blocks, and I'm gonna tightly put the Velcro where it's touching the controller here, and it's Velcroed down here. So this is actually tightly there. And it's important because there's still some clearance back here and you want this to actually catch the controller. And we're gonna add another one over here. And like I said, this is Velcroed down. So now the controller is protected on all sides. Now, what are we going to do with the top? If we don't have it elevated and it doesn't reach the foam, this can still move around. Well, I'm just going to take my foam acoustic panel and I'm just going to put it like that, and then we're going to put the top over there. All right, now I have it closed. The foam is on the top. The foam blocks are blocking the sides and the back, and we're going to do a little test. This is upside down and it's not moving around. That is perfect.
Now keep in mind, this specific case is designed for the XDJ-RX3. Odyssey doesn't say anything about using it with anything else. They do have universal cases, but one of the reasons why I went with this one is because those universal cases don't fit the XDJ-RX3. It doesn't have enough clearance for the display. Now I haven't seen it online, but if I could, I would love to be able to buy more of these blocks from Odyssey, these foam blocks, because these are really useful. And they would be especially useful if I use this with even smaller controllers, like entry-level DJ controllers. Now, well, in that case, I should be using a smaller case because it's just ridiculously smaller than the case. But these foam blocks, I would love to buy another set of 4 if I could with the Velcro.
Now, a couple more comments about the case. This is an all-black case with the black corners. And this right here is a scratch I got from a gig. The case didn't come like that, so don't worry. The point of the case is to protect what's inside, but when it does start to get scratched, you start seeing the metal finish underneath the black. Now, one minor issue I did have with the case when I first opened it up is when you have it upside down, the feet are facing up, there are missing pegs because they came off on this corner. You see them here, you see them here, and you see them everywhere. But they're actually missing here. In fact, I found one of them on the floor because it came off. And this is from when I opened it up straight out of the box. Now, I wasn't too worried about it because it seems to be still fastened there and it's still connected on the other sides, but it's just something to note and pay attention to when you get your case. For me, this wasn't enough for me to try to return or replace it because this isn't a big deal. You can't see it anyway, and it seems to be secure onto the corner.
So yeah, this is the XDJ-RX3 industrial board case from Odyssey. This specific model is the one without the slider. However, it does come with the option for the slider if you wanted one. And if you got any comments or questions, leave them down in the comment section below. Product links for this case and the one with the slider are down below, which I also included the feet that I adhesively attached to the REV7 to help it elevate to use with this case. Alright, really appreciate you for watching. May you find the knowledge you seek and the force be with you always.